Welcome to Session 3 on the anatomy and physiology of human body tissues and membranes. By the end of this video, you are expected to be able to identify the structure and functions of human body tissues and membranes and explain their interactions. A tissue is a group of similar cells and their intercellular substance that performs a particular function. Tissues are classified by size, shape, and function. The four main types are epithelial, connective, muscle, and nervous tissue. Epithelial tissue covers the body and lines cavities and tubes. Its structure is closely related to its functions, which include protection from damage, secretion, and absorption. Epithelial tissue is classified, starting with simple epithelium, which consists of a single layer of identical cells. It is usually found on absorptive or secretory surfaces, enhancing these processes. Squamous epithelium, also known as pavement epithelium, is a single layer of flattened cells. They fit closely together, forming a thin and smooth membrane that allows free diffusion. It lines structures like the heart, blood vessels, and alveoli. Cuboidal, or cubical, epithelium consists of cylindrical cells fitting closely together on a basement membrane. It forms the tubules of the kidneys and is found in some glands. Columnar epithelium is a single layer of rectangular cells on a basement membrane. It lines the alimentary tract, with some cells absorbing nutrients and others secreting mucus. Mucus is secreted by modified columnar cells called goblet cells. Ciliated epithelium is made of columnar cells, each with many fine hair-like processes called cilia. It lines the uterine tubes and most respiratory passages. In the uterine tubes, the cilia propel mucus towards the throat. The second classification is stratified epithelia, which consists of several layers of various cell shapes. A basement membrane is usually absent, and its main function is to protect underlying structures from mechanical wear and tear. Stratified epithelia includes stratified squamous epithelium, which has layers of different shaped cells representing newly formed and mature cells. Stratified cuboidal epithelial has two or more layers and is found in sweat gland ducts and reproductive ducts. Non-keratinized stratified epithelium is found on wet surfaces that are subjected to wear and tear but protected from drying, such as the lining of the mouth and vagina. Keratinized stratified epithelium is found on dry surfaces subject to wear and tear, like skin, hair, and nails. Transitional epithelium is composed of several layers of pear-shaped cells and lines the urinary bladder. It allows for stretching as the bladder fills. Connective tissue is the most abundant tissue in the body. Cells are widely separated, with large amounts of intercellular substance. Its major functions include binding, structural support, protection, transport, and insulation. The cells that compose connective tissue include fibroblasts, fat cells, macrophages, leukocytes, and mast cells. The first type of connective tissue is loose or areolar connective tissue, the most generalized type. It provides elasticity and tensile strength and connects and supports other tissues, found under the skin, between muscles, and supporting vessels and nerves. Adipose tissue consists of fat cells, or adipocytes, containing large fat globules in an areolar tissue matrix. White adipose tissue, which makes up 20 to 25% of body weight in well-nourished adults, is one type. The amount is determined by the balance between energy intake and expenditure. Brown adipose tissue is present in newborns. When metabolized, it produces energy and significantly more heat than other fat, helping to maintain body temperature. It is only present in small amounts in adults. The second type is dense connective tissue, or fibrous tissue, mainly composed of closely packed bundles of collagen fibers with little matrix. It forms ligaments and the outer protective covering for bone, called periosteum. Fibrous tissue also forms the outer protective covering of some organs and muscle sheaths, which become tendons. Elastic tissue is capable of extension and recoil, found in large blood vessel walls, the epiglottis, and the outer ears. Blood is considered a fluid connective tissue. Lymphoid tissue is the fourth type, having a semi-solid matrix with fine branching reticulum fibers. It contains monocytes and lymphocytes, which are white blood cells found in lymph nodes, the spleen, and the tonsils. Lymphoid tissue is also found in the vermiform appendix and nodes in the small and large intestines. The fifth type is cartilage, a firmer tissue than other connective tissues, with cells called chondrocytes. There are three types of cartilage. Hyaline cartilage is a smooth, bluish-white tissue. It is found on the joint surfaces of bones, forming the costal cartilages that attach ribs to the sternum and parts of the larynx, trachea, and bronchi. Fibrocartilage consists of dense masses of white collagen fibers in a matrix similar to hyaline cartilage, with widely dispersed cells. This tough, slightly flexible tissue is found as intervertebral discs between the vertebrae. Fibrocartilage is also found as semilunar cartilages in the knee joint and on the rim of the hip and shoulder joints. Elastic cartilage is a flexible tissue with yellow elastic fibers in a solid matrix, forming the pinna of the ear, the epiglottis, and part of blood vessel walls. Bone is connective tissue with cells called osteocytes, surrounded by a collagen fiber matrix strengthened by calcium and phosphate. This gives bone its strength and rigidity. The two types are compact bone, which is solid, and cancellous, or spongy bone, which has a honeycomb appearance. There are three types of muscle tissue, consisting of specialized contractile cells. Skeletal muscle tissue is striated and voluntary, meaning its contraction is under conscious control. Smooth muscle tissue is non-striated and involuntary. It's found in the walls of hollow organs, regulating the diameter of blood vessels and respiratory tracts. It also propels contents through the ureters, ducts, and alimentary tract, and expels contents from the urinary bladder and uterus. Cardiac muscle tissue is found only in the wall of the heart. It is not under conscious control, but exhibits cross stripes characteristic of voluntary muscles when viewed under a microscope. Muscle functions through alternate contraction and relaxation phases, with fibers becoming thicker and shorter when they contract. Skeletal muscle is stimulated by motor nerve impulses. Smooth and cardiac muscles have an intrinsic ability to initiate contraction, stimulated by autonomic nerve impulses, hormones, and metabolites. Nervous tissues consist of two types of cells: excitable cells called neurons, which initiate, receive, conduct, and transmit information, and non-excitable cells which support the neurons. Membranes are sheets of epithelial tissue and supporting connective tissue that cover or line structures. The mucous membrane, or mucosa, lines the alimentary, respiratory, and genitourinary tracts. Serous membranes, or serosa, secrete a watery fluid that covers the membrane surface. Examples include the pleural membrane covering the lungs, the pericardial membrane covering the heart, and the peritoneal membrane covering the peritoneum. The synovial membrane lines joint cavities and surrounds tendons that could be injured by rubbing against bones, such as over the wrist joint. Various body parts have specific functions. The head hosts sensory organs and protects the brain, connecting to the neck. The brain is the center of vital functions, receiving, analyzing, and directing sensory information. The neck connects the head to the trunk, allows head movement, and protects nerves. The trunk connects all other parts and hosts internal organs like the heart, lungs, stomach, and kidneys. Limbs connect to the trunk. Arms help hold and carry objects, and legs facilitate walking and running, sustaining the body's weight. Cavities hold and protect internal organs. Regions and planes help in allocating and diagnosing anatomical dysfunction. Body structures interact extensively. For example, in respiration, the lungs and brain rely on mutual communication involving receptors, nerves, and muscles to match breathing to oxygen demands. The muscular system also interacts with the skeletal, nervous, circulatory, digestive, respiratory, and immune systems. To summarize key points, a tissue is a collection of similar cells performing a particular function. Tissues are classified by the size, shape, and function of their cells. The main functions of tissues and membranes are protection, absorption, support, connection, transportation, and secretion. This concludes our video. Consider reviewing the definition of tissue and membrane, the 4 types of tissues, and the 5 main functions of tissue and membranes. The references used for this video include texts by Seeley, Shear, Standring, and Thibodeau.